Whether you hug the infield tires or rip the cushion, you found the fastest dirt track podcast in motorsports. Welcome to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway. Here's Stephen and Brad Ovens.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is that you're tuning into it here. Here's episode number 5 of Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of the Land of Legends Raceway. Stephen and Brad Ovens with you here for episode number 5, and we've got 2 awesome guests. Now, this past Saturday, we had double features at the Land of Legends, and we thought, well, with that theme of double features for the modifieds and the sprint cars, we thought, well, why don't we have double features for our A-Main interviews this week? And we've got 2 great stories to share with you with 2 of our, 2 of the nicest guys you'll meet over in the pit area at the Land of Legends. We're going to talk to Bobby Parrow, and we'll talk to Tegg a little bit later on, but Brad, Saturday was a very, very hectic night. However, I thought things went as well as they could have. The show seemed to really move right along, and we got everything in right at the stroke of 11 o'clock at our curfew. And I think the fans on Land of Legends TV and the crews and everybody pit side got treated to a great show.
Yeah, we had some fantastic racing at Land of Legends Saturday night. Double features for the big blocks and 305s, which you can never go wrong with. And a sweep from a guy who hasn't won a feature in at least a decade.
Oh, it's I'll tell you, Brad, that's you're right on there. It was so here's the thing with Bobby Parrow. 21 years since his last win with the Empire Super Sprints, which came back on July 14th, 1999. 7,696 days since that last win. And as far as wins at Canandaigua goes, and this was something that I had to check with Tom Skabinski on, I wasn't sure if Parrow had ever won at Canandaigua. Well, he has. He has won at Canandaigua, but it's been since 1992. So, I mean, that even goes back even further. I mean, that was pretty darn cool. And it's one of those things that I think you'll always remember. I was there the night that Bobby Parrow won for the first time in 21 years. Now, mind you, we say 21 years and a lot of that time he was stepped away from racing, but still to come back to the sport and get a win, with that much time gap, that just shows, the wheelman that guy is.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have loved to have been a fly on the dashboard of Darrell Ruggles' 305 sprint car Saturday night as the 53 went zooming by him, because I'm sure his eyes had to have been as big as ours were.
Absolutely. And Parrow made the same kind of move to take second. And I think it was a similar move to take the race lead in the makeup feature. And it was on opposite sides of the racetrack. I mean, his pass on Ruggles was in 1 and 2. His pass in the makeup feature was 3 and 4. It was pretty cool to see Darrell with the congratulations after the race too, because it was kind of a tip of the cap from Darrell, who, let's face it, has been lights out the dominant driver in 305s. There's been quite a few drivers that have picked up wins along the way as well, his daughter being one of them. But Darrell has been, a force in that division for, as long as that division has been at Canandaigua. And it was that was really cool. I mean, at one point, Parrow looked like he was he spins on lap 1 of the nightcap, and then he comes back to get Darrell, and he was closing on Darrell at a rapid pace. I think what we're going to see for the rest of the season are races just like that, because now Tommy Fletcher, Bobby Parrow, that whole 53 crew, that car is singing on all cylinders right now. And I think the fans are in for a big treat here for the rest of these shows we have left.
Yeah, absolutely. And then double features for the big blocks. I mean, you couldn't have gotten a better feel-good story out of the big blocks, with Jimmy Phelps picking up the first win of the year, dedicating that to his dad, Andy, who passed recently. And then, of course, Tegg, with the year that Tegg and the crew have had. just absolute, like the definition of roller coaster season right there.
Yeah. And I think I told Gil Tegg this, and the fans will hear it. The fans will hear it in our interview with him. I told Gil Tegg, I felt like, him winning the feature, and you know what, Brad, I'd put Jimmy Phelps in that same category for those wins on Saturday night. Jimmy Phelps, Gil Tegg. I don't think a lot of people in the modified pit area left all that disappointed with who won the race. Like, if we can't win the race, you know what? Good for Jimmy Phelps. He's been through, him and his family been through a lot here recently, losing Andy. Hey, you know what? Good for Gil Tegg. He hasn't won a race in 4 years, and this was only his 4th big block win ever that dates back to the mid-90s. So, good for both of those guys. And that's what I felt leaving the racetrack Saturday night was, I know everybody wants to win, but if you can't win, hey, why not have a couple of feel-good stories there in Victory Lane?
Absolutely. And, Phelps has been on it this year, especially with us at Land of Legends. I've kind of been waiting, I called him to win a race actually earlier this season. It just didn't pan out with Larry and Pat Ward and all these big time guys that are coming in and racing with us. And I knew it was just going to be a matter of time for Jimmy before he picked up his first win. And then, like I said, Gil Tegg, I mean, that's just goes to show you the type of talent that we have, that it's not going to be a super team that goes out and stomps and walks all over everybody. That, these smaller teams that are family run or personal, one car teams can go out, and all you have to do is roll the dice and, come up sevens to be able to snooker their field, I guess we'll say.
Yeah. One other note, Brad, the point race in the modifieds tightened up as well. And this may come to a surprise to some. It may not, for fans of Tim Fuller. Tim Fuller is now, elevated himself to second in points. He's only 16 points behind Larry White right now. So that's going to be a real fun point race to watch the rest of the way home. And, when the points came out this week, I thought that was interesting. Larry had his struggles, still has been clicking off top fives, but right now he's only got a 16-point margin on Tim Fuller. Alan Johnson very quietly right now in third, only 24 points behind, and we've got 3-point shows left to go here. So really, anything can happen. Heat points are going to factor in, and I think the fans are going to be in for a real treat here as we get ready to wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tim Fuller's another one of those guys that's just kind of been lurking there with the Jimmy Phelpses, the Alan Johnsons, and just consistently always there.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts and visit landoflegendspodcast.com.
Fans of Land of Legends Raceway and the Where Legends Are Made podcast, we've got a great opportunity for you to feature your business. We have opportunities here to sponsor Where Legends Are Made. We have all different features of the podcast. You can pick to be a sponsor of one of our heat races. Maybe you want your business name attached to the top 10 read-offs for the week. Maybe you want your business to be the one that's heard when we play our highlight of the week. Maybe you're a history buff. You want to sponsor Heat 3, where we talk about this week in Land of Legends Raceway history. Maybe you want to be the main sponsor. So when we interview our main driver of the week, you want to get your business out in front of that. We've got plenty of opportunities for you to do so, and we can work inside of any budget. And believe me, if you're listening to this and you're saying, oh, I don't think my business has the advertising budget to sponsor a podcast, believe me, we can fit inside of anybody's advertising budget. Get your business a little bit of advertising here on Where Legends Are Made. contact us right here on the Land of Legends Raceway Facebook page if you're interested, and put your business in front of all of our fans where legends are made.
Now it's time for this week's highlight of the week. Take it away, Brad.
This week's highlight of the week for Land of Legends Raceway was 21 years in the making. Bobby Parrow returns to racing full-time in 2020 at the Land of Legends, driving the Tom Fletcher-owned 305 sprint car. Parrow pulled the broom Saturday night at Land of Legends. Let's take a listen.
Here with 4 to go. Oh, but Parrow's got to run down to the bottom, and you've got a new race leader down the back straightaway. Oh, Parrow snookered him off of turn 2. Coming down to the line, 3 laps to go, and you officially have a new race leader. It's Bobby Parrow. Oh, my goodness. And now Ruggles is trying to fight back here for the race lead. Parrow's trying to sweep the night. 2 laps to go. What a run. He's given this Fletcher Racing 53. Coming on to the white flag this time by is Bobby Parrow, and he is really stretching the advantage now. Parrow through turns 1 and 2, down the back straightaway for the final time. The wings for cystic fibrosis. DC Rauscher, number 53. Get out the brooms. It's time for a clean sweep. Bobby Parrow wins.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts and visit landoflegendspodcast.com.
Fans of Land of Legends Raceway and the Where Legends Are Made podcast, we've got a great opportunity for you to feature your business. We have opportunities here to sponsor Where Legends Are Made. We have all different features of the podcast. You can pick to be a sponsor of one of our heat races. Maybe you want your business name attached to the top 10 read-offs for the week. Maybe you want your business to be the one that's heard when we play our highlight of the week. Maybe you're a history buff. You want to sponsor Heat 3, where we talk about this week in Land of Legends Raceway history. Maybe you want to be the main sponsor. So when we interview our main driver of the week, you want to get your business out in front of that. We've got plenty of opportunities for you to do so, and we can work inside of any budget. And believe me, if you're listening to this and you're saying, oh, I don't think my business has the advertising budget to sponsor a podcast, believe me, we can fit inside of anybody's advertising budget. Get your business a little bit of advertising here on Where Legends Are Made. Contact us right here on the Land of Legends Raceway Facebook page if you're interested, and put your business in front of all of our fans where legends are made.
Whether you hug the infield tires or rip the cushion, you found the fastest dirt track podcast in motorsports. Welcome to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway. Here's Stephen and Brad Ovens. By the grace of God and 800 horsepower, it's time for the A-Main interview of the week.
Our first A-Main interview is with Bobby Parrow, who last won at the Land of Legends in 1992 and picked up his first checkered flag since July 14th, 1999. And our first one is one that I was looking forward to. I'm looking forward to both of them, but as a kid growing up racing go-karts at Paradise Speedway, it didn't get any better than watching Lee Sanders and Lance Young and Bubby Carrick and Bobby Parrow tearing up the quarter mile at Paradise Speedway. And Bobby Parrow picked up just a huge night this past weekend, swept the features, got a seat race to boot, and he joins us now on Where Legends Are Made. And Bobby, first off, congratulations, man. What a night you had on Saturday.
Well, thanks a lot, Steve. I tell you, it really makes me feel good getting this win for Tommy.
Yeah. Now
Tommy's been in the sport for probably longer than I have, at least on a consistent basis, and he's tried really hard, and he's always had a car on the track, and it feels good to get him a win.
Now let's start there, because that was one of the questions I had written down to talk to you about tonight, is how this all came together with you and Tommy teaming up.
Well, Tommy and I grew up together. He lived on the next street over as kids. And we, believe it or not, when we were younger, we used to hang out and do things as young kids. And he stopped by the shop one day and just he asked me if I wanted to drive. And I had to think about it a little bit because it's been a long time since I committed to driving anything. I drove back in 2015 at Selinsgrove for about 4 or 5 races. But other than that, for the last, since I think it was 99, I haven't really consistently drove. And when he asked me, I thought about it and I said, oh, what the heck? It's close. I don't want to travel much anymore. So Canandaigua was perfect.
What went through your mind when you went through that decision-making process of, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? What was that process like? Because I'm sure that part of that process was, yes, it's been a while. It's been, quite some time since even 2015. I mean, things change so much in this sport. What was that decision-making process like?
Well, I guess I got used to having the weekends to myself and enjoying, the family and doing normal things in life. And when I raced for all those years, it was a 7 day a week, pretty much all year round process. And to commit myself back to doing that again and giving up pretty much every Saturday night. I mean, this year it hasn't been as much because of this crisis we're going through. But other than that, previous years of racing, when you get into racing and you want to do good, you have to dedicate 100% of your time to it in order to finish good. You want good results, you gotta dedicate yourself. And that was a tough decision, but it got me to get some of my old friends back into it. My one crew guy is Mike Forty, and we've been together since, like I said in the interview, 12 years old. He worked on my go-karts at Paradise. He went on the National Go-Kart Series with me. When I started driving for Stackus, I was 16 and he was 15. We ran Williams Grove and Selinsgrove, Susquehanna. We ran 2 Northern Outlaw swings together, and we're only in 10th and 11th grade.
Wow.
And he's been with me all the way. And then another guy that helped me a real lot throughout all the years was Charlie Doverspike. And they're both local guys, and they've traveled all over the country with me. And when I made that decision, they both decided to come on board too and help. So it's been, each week we've been getting a little bit quicker and quicker and quicker. And it's not only getting the car to handle better, it was getting like the fuel system. And that's what we've been working on, is getting the fuel system to work better and run more efficient and getting the rust knocked off my back.
It's kind of been getting the band back together, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah. We always great together in the past, and we still work great together. We love it. We have a lot of fun together.
Where did racing start for you? Was it go-karts locally and then traveled some? Where did everything get started, or who was that influencer?
Well, racing didn't run in my family. My grandfather had a machine shop, and he used to build engines for people that raced at Waterloo Racetrack, and he used to be the tech inspector. And my father never really got into racing. He just watching the trees at Waterloo. And I had a paper route when I was little, and when I was on a paper route, this one guy that his 2 kids raced, he had one for sale. So I went home, grabbed some money, and came back and bought his go-kart for $30, and that's what started our racing.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And then my dad got into it more and more and more. And once that went, that's what started this whole thing. But it really wasn't I would have loved to have been a second generation driver, but we're just fortunate enough to have what we had.
How about the transition to sprint cars back in the day? How did all of that go about?
Well, we were racing out to Paradise, and Scott Stackus, he owned modified teams. He used to drive himself, but at the time, I think he had Johnny Badalik driving for him. And he came out to the go-kart races a couple of weeks in a row, and he asked my father if I'd be interested in racing a sprint car. And I said, and my dad said, well, you're going to have to ask him. And I didn't even know what a sprint car was, to be honest with you. I never went to a sprint car race or anything. So he took me and Mike down to Selinsgrove that next night to watch a race. And that was back when Wolfgang was driving for Whitegert, and he won. And then Stackus looked at me, says, well, you think you can do it? I said, yeah, I can do it. So the following week, we went out to Knoxville and we bought a car off of Gil Suter and a motor at the Knoxville Nationals. And at the time, Rocky Hodges was driving for him. So we came home, and about 2 weeks later, we went and raced at Selinsgrove. First race, we ran the go-karts on Friday nights, and then we went down to Selinsgrove and raced on Saturday nights.
Awesome.
And it was an all-star race. It's amazing how you can remember things from way back then, but I can't remember what I had for lunch today. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, you had, then you race, locally with ESS, and then, at the end of your career, they get the, ESS Hall of Fame started up, and you get inducted into a class there. That I bring that up for 2 points. One, that had to feel like quite an accomplishment to be recognized, by, that series and your peers that way. But at the same time, with that honor and accolade, at that point in time, did you feel like the helmet was hung up on the wall for the last time?
Oh, absolutely. I never thought I'd get back into it. And it was a couple of years, I think, I can't remember if it was before that or after that. Well, it was 2015 that Chuck Zach called me up, and he was when I went to Selinsgrove with Stackus to watch my first race, Chuck Zach owned a car way back then, or his father, and that was the first sprint car that I ever seen, was that 3Z. And in 2015, he called me up and just asked me if I wanted to drive his car. So I did, and I enjoyed it, and we started doing really well with it, and the season ended, but I didn't want to continue the next year because I guess it was all the travel time, going down to Selinsgrove every Saturday night.
Yeah.
I did that for plenty of years, but getting inducted into the Hall of Fame with ESS was a great honor. I mean, I wish I could have ran more full seasons with ESS, but we only ran like 3 complete seasons with them. And I wish we could have ran the season or the years that we did run with them. I wish we could have ran every race, but due to finances. And then I started driving for Earl Podorf. Then we could start running a little bit more, but finances kept us from running the whole season.
Gotcha. So let's go back to Saturday. You're out in the makeup feature, and after 20 laps at Canandaigua, you come home with the checkered flag, and you certainly didn't get very long to celebrate because you guys got to get the car ready and turn back around to get ready for the heat race. So I'm sure people were congratulating you, but at the same time, everybody had to focus forward on the regularly scheduled show.
Yeah, we talked about that beforehand, me and Mike and Charlie, and we knew we'd have our hands full jumping from, the makeup feature to the heat and getting everything ready and changing it over and putting our heat setup in, and then jumping back and putting the feature setup back in. But yeah, everybody worked hard that night. So everybody was in the same boat as me, and it worked out really well. But I wish it would have been nice to celebrate a little bit more.
Well, then later on, you get, the sweep for the night. You win the regularly scheduled show. and it puts an exclamation point on what had already been a great day for you guys, and now you come home with 2. I mean, that was after a great battle with Darryl Ruggles, and I don't want to bury the battle in the headline there, but that was just an awesome race.
Well, yeah, it was exciting. I kind of messed up at the beginning of the race. I got together with another car, and it was just close quarters down there, bumped them, and pretty much spun around. And so I got put in the back a little bit, and I thought, well, we don't have a few cautions. This is going to be a little tough. But luckily, everything worked out. We had a few cautions, and it got me a little closer to the front each time.
What was Tom's reaction?
Well, when I called him, it was the only time I called him was we ended up getting Tegg that night. And I had no idea his motor was sealed a few years ago, because his motor hasn't been apart in a long time. And we didn't know who sealed it. And I guess we're getting questioned on who sealed our motor. So I guess I had to call Tommy up. He was on vacation. And I told him we won again. He was excited, obviously. And then he told me that Mike Van Dusen sealed our motor. So that kind of helped us out a little, or helped me out that night.
Sure. Well, you've got all of the awesome things that happened on Saturday. Now, come to today, and I'm not sure at the time that we're recording this here, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet or not, but your story got shared on a national sprint car program today with Steve Post and Aaron Evernham, used to be Aaron Crocker. They were talking about Bobby Parrow on Wing Nation today, which was pretty awesome. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Well, take when you get a chance here, and this is funny. I should have sent you this link before we did the interview, but this makes it kind of funny now. On the Land of Legends Facebook page, we shared the video in the time mark where they started talking about it. But it was just so cool because their show is a national sprint car show talking about mainly 410 sprint cars. That's what they usually highlight and focus on. But this week, today, they were sharing your story about, last ESS win in 1999 and, 7,600 plus days later, you're in 305 sprint victory lane. And it was cool to see them share the story about somebody locally here and sharing that story on the national stage. So you'll get a kick out of that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I remember back in the day when Erin was running I ran with Erin when she was running for Woodring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome, man.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's cool to see, like I said, our local guys, and I can't tell you how many people have commented or sent the track an inbox message talking about, sharing their favorite Bobby Parrow story over the years after seeing you pick up the win over the weekend. And it's really cool. I mean, it's just, and like I said, myself as a young guy who raced go-karts there when the 360s were running at Paradise and following ESS a little bit locally, Paradise and Dundee and things like that. I mean, it was, I shared with somebody after the races were over that night. I said, I got to tell you, the show Saturday was very fast paced because we had a lot to get in that night, but it was hard not to get a little nostalgic because it was just like, man, this is so cool. Like this is one of those races where it's like I will always remember being there the night that Bobby Parrow went back to victory lane. So, and it was a lot of fun, man. And it was fun to see you guys enjoy that moment. And I hope that, even on vacation, Tom enjoys it too. And, it's been a lot of fun to share that story and see it, even on the national level was kind of cool today. So
right.
Congratulations, man.
Well, thank you. You just sit there and you think about it. Back when I stopped racing, I know I was a little bit, I felt like I was at the peak of my career, but I had, at the time I stopped, I had a couple children. I started a business, and that's the main reason I had to step away. And I sat around for obviously 20 years, and it never gets out of your blood. It never gets out of your mind. Everybody, you always have people come in and ask you if you miss racing or if you're ever going to do it again. And I always said, I don't know. But I guess the right opportunity came along because I didn't want to get into traveling anymore.
Sure.
And when Tommy asked me, I thought, I'll give it a shot.
Well, I'm sure you're glad you did now, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying myself. And like I said, what really makes me feel good is the guys that are helping me, that always helped me along the way, that, we did well when they ran or when we ran together. And now that we're all back together again, we're starting to get a little bit better again. So hopefully we can keep this up and be consistent with it, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, we wish you a lot of luck the rest of the way here. We've still got some shows left here in this. Yeah, it's been an odd season to say the least. I mean, we've been fortunate to continue to be on track and now back to not having fans, which has been unfortunate. But it was great to see you guys have a great run for that team and for you and your crew and everything. That was a lot of fun. Tell us about some of the folks that I know you've got some great partners on the side of the car that help make it work. And Tom is the car owner. Tell us about the folks that are helping out with the effort.
Well, Tommy's always been, he's got a soft spot in his heart for their wings of cystic fibrosis. And Dave Rouser helps us out. We use his race shop, and that is a huge benefit for us because he has a really nice race shop that we get to work out of.
Awesome. Good deal, man. Well, again, congratulations. We appreciate you joining us here on Where Legends Are Made, our podcast here for the track. And we're going to get to share the story and let some of the race fans that follow us on social media, they'll get to reminisce on some of their favorite stories while they listen to this. So we appreciate your time.
Oh, great. I really, I thank you for reaching out to me and giving me a little bit of time.
Absolutely. Well, folks, there's Bobby Parrow, first of our double feature A-Main interviews of the week. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to hear from our second of our double feature A-Main interviews. Stick around. We're going to talk to Tegg next here on Where Legends Are Made.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts and visit landoflegendspodcast.com.
Fans of Land of Legends Raceway and the Where Legends Are Made podcast, we've got a great opportunity for you to feature your business. We have opportunities here to sponsor Where Legends Are Made. We have all different features of the podcast. You can pick to be a sponsor of one of our heat races. Maybe you want your business name attached to the top 10 read-offs for the week. Maybe you want your business to be the one that's heard when we play our highlight of the week. Maybe you're a history buff. You want to sponsor Heat 3, where we talk about this week in Land of Legends Raceway history. Maybe you want to be the A-Main sponsor. So when we interview our main driver of the week, you want to get your business out in front of that. We've got plenty of opportunities for you to do so, and we can work inside of any budget. And believe me, if you're listening to this and you're saying, oh, I don't think my business has the advertising budget to sponsor a podcast, believe me, we can fit inside of anybody's advertising budget. Get your business a little bit of advertising here on Where Legends Are Made. Contact us right here on the Land of Legends Raceway Facebook page if you're interested, and put your business in front of all of our fans where legends are made.
By the grace of God and 800 horsepower, it's time for the A-Main interview of the week.
Our second A-Main interview is with Tegg, who first won a big block modified feature back in June of 1996, winning a big race over Alan Johnson. Turned to 2020, and he picks up his fourth big block modified win, again over Alan Johnson. We had double features on Saturday night, so we decided this week we're going to have double features with A-Main interviews tonight. And our second A-Main interview of the week, man, what a night he had on Saturday night. Gets the 22G to victory lane in the nightcap. Gil Tegg Jr. joins us from his place in Rochester, and he was just telling me that him and his dad took the Sea-Doos out for their maiden voyage. Gil, I imagine after we're done here, you're probably going to be hitting the Aloe.
Yeah, little wore out, and then to make things worse, my dad came by me and got me soaked about 35 miles an hour. So I got a little chuckle out of that. He's 71, but he came zooming by, and it was a good time. We just hung out for a couple hours on Canisius Lake and looked at our old cottage and visited a friend. And it's a good day.
Awesome. Well, speaking of good days, you guys had a good night on Saturday night. Tell us about your run. I mean, you get back to victory lane for the first time since 2016, and that car in the nightcap just looked flawless on Saturday night.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. We just hit on something, and the track was awesome. Probably the best it's been all year. And it's ironic because, in the first feature it wasn't so good, but we managed to get through that unscathed, and we changed a couple things and went out in our heat and we won that. But the car, it felt like probably most of the cars feel at the end of the feature, at the end of the night. It kind of felt like it was a little too loose. So we tightened it up a little bit, and just a couple little minor changes, and it was like just woke the car rate up. And it's the same car I won with 4 years ago on the first night we took the car out. So it's got about 50 races on it, but and it's got the Finger Lakes motor, which we got from Jimmy Phelps. He ended up winning the first feature. So it was everything it ran great and it handled great. It was just, it was so nice to, after the race, not have to second guess yourself, wonder if you could have changed the way you were driving or, just because we haven't been running that good. So, when you win, you can't do any better than that. So you look back at the race and you still think about some things you could have done differently, but for the most part, you pretty much had, I'd say I was pretty much near perfect. I made a couple small mistakes, but when the car's good, it's actually easy. The first feature was probably 3 times harder to drive than the second one, and I ran like 15th. So you're running in the middle of the pack. It's not much fun. You're sliding around and guys are going by. It's tough. So to end the night the way we did was awesome.
Absolutely. Did you have any indication early in the feature that, man, we hit on something here. We've got something good, or is it hard to feel that way in a 35 lap race? Because 35 laps, I noticed this as an announcer at Canandaigua anyway. It seems like these races are long. So do you ever get that feeling early in a race, or is it just you have to wait and see what happens?
Well, the way we've been running this year, I kind of was skeptical. So I didn't really have that feeling. I knew I was faster than Derek and Eldon, but I didn't start thinking like, oh, we got one here tonight until probably after a couple restarts. And I had Alan behind me on one of them, and it was a double file start. And we were able to still maintain the lead, and I didn't hear any cars. So then I started thinking, whoa, maybe we're going. And then I did notice, the car, it seemed like the harder I drove it into 3, the better it was. And then the easier I went into turn 1, it seemed better. So I was starting to figure out get a good rhythm. And it just, then I saw, like, I think, we got to like lap, I don't know. I saw the 5 to go and I said, oh man, I started getting a little nervous, but I said, just, hit your marks. And then when I saw the 2 to go, and I just said, you just got to get in the corner good and just don't overdrive it, and we should be all right, And down the backstretch on that final lap, I kind of was like, okay, I think we got it, And then once you get through 3 and 4, about halfway through, you're pretty much you don't hear anything and you don't see a wheel, and it's pretty amazing. It's I used to run Black Rock way back in the day, Outlaw now, and we won quite a few there. So it was it was it was a different deal. And now Canandaigua, I'm not saying Outlaw is easy, but we just had more success there. And Canandaigua with the big blocks, it's a tough deal, and the wins are a lot harder to come by. So to beat those guys, it's pretty awesome, and it's pretty cool. Some of the other, like Randy Kosaki, came down and congratulated us, and that was really cool. I respect him a ton, and for certain people to come over and acknowledge what you did, it makes it that much better, and I really appreciated that.
I feel like that win for you is one of those that you see during the course of the season where, guys like that have had some success either behind the wheel or turning wrenches. I mean, they leave the track that night saying, you know what, we didn't put it in victory lane tonight, but you know what, it was damn nice to see Gil Tegg put it in victory lane. Like that's what it felt like leaving on Saturday night. Yeah.
And I got a ton of, people on Facebook made comments, and that was kind of the theme, and I'm one of those guys that I kind of, I like to see an underdog win, in any sport. And I got that feeling that people were glad, people, the way they responded, it was pretty neat. And, like I said earlier, we've struggled, quite a bit this year. And, you start doubting sometimes what you're doing and how you're running. And it's just to come out with the win, people might say, hey, he still got it. And I just, the fact that everyone's very respectful towards our team is another deal. It's the racing community's always been it's been awesome. And it's not as tight knit as it was back in the 90s when I started. Guys kind of, races are over, people load up and go. Back in the 90s, I mean, Steve Schultz used to have a corn roast, and he'd bring a keg of beer once a year. And I mean, everyone came over, and we all had beers and ate corn and talked about racing. And actually, we talked about everything. And you knew some of the other drivers a lot better. Sure. And now, unfortunately, there's definitely a handful of drivers that I probably never even talked to at Canandaigua, and back in the day, I pretty much good and bad talked to everyone. So it's just a different deal, but it makes it, when you see all the comments coming through on Facebook, it kind of reminds me of the old days. So it was pretty neat.
You talked about, some of the struggles, and, last year, the engine woes. This year, one, second race out, I think it was. And you talk about, that struggle. And I remember seeing the video with Doug talking to you that night that it happened. And I thought, man, that has got to be one of the lowest things that you can feel in the sport. How I think the fans would appreciate kind of getting in the driver's mindset about this. How do you take those struggles? How do you push through that? How do you go back to the shop that night and say, you know what, we're going to do what we got to do, and we're going to go get them next week? How do you push through there?
Well, fortunately, we did have a spare car and another motor. Last year we didn't have, that wasn't the case. So that helped. But the motor we blew up was a motor that that Billy Campbell put together, and then Betsy freshened it a couple of years later, and the thing ran great for 2 years. And I can count on probably one hand the amount of engine failures we've had, especially to that degree. So I didn't lose any faith in Betsy. We were trying to figure out what went wrong. So you go home, and the first thing you try to do is, what went wrong, and you get the motor apart, and then you go from there. And then it's tough because these motors nowadays are really expensive. And we took out a lot of stuff out of that motor that was junk. So it's still now we got a new block coming, and everything's coming in, new crank and all this stuff. And now we're to the point where you really don't think about it, because you just got to keep pushing forward to get it back together, and then back in the car. Well, we're going to do a 358 deal. We got a motor being fresh, and my old Outlaw, the motor I ran at Black Rock years ago, we're putting spec heads on that. So, we got so much going on that it kind of takes away. You don't have time to necessarily, you think about it for about a week, and then you move on. It's kind of like this win. Thursday when I get there, that'll probably be ancient history. It's like next race, and it's tough at Canandaigua. So you go out. I think when I won with this car 4 years ago, I went out the next week, and I think I finished like 16th. So it was a kick. It was like a real kick in the butt. Like one week you win, the next week you're maybe getting lapped. So it's a sport that you gotta have thick skin, and fortunately we got some decent money coming in right now. We're one of the businesses with the COVID deal that we're doing really well. I feel for the businesses that aren't. So money is a little bit better right now. So that definitely helped our cause, and to get through that engine failure. But it's a tough deal. It's you got people coming at you from a lot of different directions, starting to ask you, what's going on here? You had a motor problem the year before, and then, and you get the negative people that they always, why don't you change engine builders? And, they don't know the whole story. And so you got to go through that end of it. Then you start, it's in the back of your mind, like, man, maybe, but with Betsy, I never doubted her capability and the experience she has, and the motor we won with this past Saturday, she put back together last year when we had an issue with it. So we're just moving forward, and
awesome.
Now we just try to ease the pain a little bit. Like this money we took in from the win is a huge deal, because that can go right back towards that bill on the motor, So we just try to make every little penny, we just try to take in as much money as we can on a weekly basis, and try to spend as little as possible. But
right. I mean, that the win Saturday's got to feel, I mean, we're now, almost mid-August, but that's got to feel like a good reset for you guys here for these last few shows we got coming up.
Oh man, it's awesome. I mean, it basically made a pretty mediocre season. Just, it puts an asterisk on it. It's like basically made our season, as long as we remain competitive the next 5-6 races, or how many races we end up racing the rest of the year. It just, now we look back, at the banquet, and we'll be, we got a win.
Yeah.
So it's huge. I mean, I would hate to run my next 4 or 5 races and not be a legitimate top 10, run in the top 10. To go out and get another win would be phenomenal, but realistically, we just want to we kind of try to shoot for the top 10s, you know, and then if we got the car, we try to, you know, we'll top 5, you know, I'm very realistic about the deal because you're running against guys that are running 2-3 nights a week, even during this COVID situation. And I'm running once a week at best. You know, I don't know the numbers, but I got to think maybe this is my 8th or 9th race this year. You know, I could be off a couple, but I mean, there's guys that have run 8 or 9 races in the last probably 2.5, 3 weeks. So
sure. Well, I mean, look at the 4 cars behind you in the top 5 that you beat on Saturday night. Alan Johnson, Larry White, Eric Rudolph, Billy Dunn. I mean, you're in pretty damn good company there.
Yeah, those guys, they got their cars going really well. They're always good. I mean, they don't have many off nights, you know. Yeah. And those guys go everywhere and run good. It's not like they just run good at Canandaigua, you know. Like I tell a lot of people, I said, if you take the top 10 at Canandaigua, you could almost pretty much say that would be the top 15 of any series race. I believe that, more or less, that 9 or 10 guys in our top 10 would be in the top 15 of any of the super dirt car races. So they run good everywhere, and they got good equipment, and you know what? They're good drivers. They don't run you dirty, and it's fun. It is fun racing with those guys. And, you know, you might not get the finishes up front as much, but to race with that caliber of drivers, it makes it all worth that much more, because it's just, they're going all over the place. And they're driving, some of them are even hopping in sprint cars and late models with, you know, Larry a little bit. I mean, they're no joke.
Yeah. You talked about, you know, some of your earlier days, and actually when I looked at the record books under one of the yellows Saturday night, I saw that the first win for you came in the mid to late 90s. I remember, you know, my first introduction to you racing were those years at Black Rock and running some down at Woodhall. I think at that time, I think you were driving for Skip at that time. And
yes.
Yep.
And
so
that was a big deal, because it kind of got me back re-energized, because I started running pretty good. And, you know, we got some wins, and it was like a second win. You know, there was a time where I didn't see myself maybe racing more than a couple more years. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm going to race a couple more. And then all of a sudden we got through that, and it was like, okay, we're in this for the long haul. You know, it's just something my dad and I do. And, you know, sometimes it's not so much fun. You know, we'll ride home, and, you know, the conversations aren't very good. But last weekend, ironically, he didn't drive with me in the truck and trailer. He drove separate, which he hasn't done that. And probably, I don't remember the last time. So the ride home was just one of my crew guys and I, but this past week was awesome. And those are the nights that you'll remember forever. And it's just, it's a good deal. And like today, my dad and I were cruising around on those Sea-Doos, and it was pretty neat. You don't think about it much, but those are the times that just, I don't know, we had a great time, and we were, you know, I was laughing about him splashing me, and then just this week with the race deal, it's been a pretty good couple days.
Awesome. Well, I know you talked in Doug's interview about some of the folks, you know, back home that are always wishing you well and stuff. And I imagine it's been a good week for that too. So I thought it was it was quite a night. You know, it was great to see you guys put one on the board, and like you said, you know, I also enjoy the story of, you know, and not so much. I don't know. I don't know if I look at it as much as the underdog as it's you just appreciate somebody that puts so much effort and puts, you know, the all this time and effort and the dollars certainly that it takes to do this stuff. And, you know, to see you guys have that night and, you know, like you said, you know, for some of the times that you've looked and said, where you second guess yourself or you say, well, what are we doing here or whatever, you know, it's just, it's cool to see guys. And, you know, we talked to Bobby Parrow earlier in the program tonight. He was another guy, you know, he hasn't had a checkered flag in 21 years and he was stepped away from the sport during that time. But I mean, man, we were not short for those kind of stories on Saturday. It was pretty cool.
It's cool. I actually raced. He ran a modified at Black Rock for a year or two, and we raced against him. So I was glad to see he won, and it was pretty neat. Someone told me I saw one of the guys do a 360, and a caution never came out. I don't know if it was him. Someone said it was.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I was watching him race, and I said, "Holy cow!" He just drove out of that. And then when they said he won, I said, "Geez." But one thing that's kind of cool too about Saturday, my first win back in I think 96.
Yeah.
It's funny because Alan was second that night and I had to restart with 4 to go.
Oh.
And then same deal. I knew who was behind me, and it was like same thing this past Saturday. It's like that's one guy. You know, he doesn't win like he used to, but that's one guy that he's very smooth. So if you make a mistake, he's going to get by you. So that it's just you just don't want to mess up when he's there because he will pounce on you. So it was just kind of funny. I said, man, 2 out of my 4 wins there. Alan's been right on my back bumper, you know.
Well, you'll have to remind him of that on Thursday night, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like Alan. Like I say, I pretty much like all the guys, but he's, you know, I've been racing with him since 91. So we're kind of like, I hate to say it, but I'm not the young guy anymore. It's pretty sad. I'm going to be 50 next year. So it's,
well, I don't know, man. I think we could call you a young guy out there cruising the Sea-Doos on the water, man.
Well, when I saw my dad go by me, I laughed so hard because, you know, I thought he was just going to be kind of, you know, just careful, cautious, whatever you want to say. And next thing you know, he goes zinging by me and soaks me. I don't even think he did it on purpose, but, and it was fun. It was nice to see him, you know, throttle down and
well, man, congratulations again on the win Saturday. That was just awesome. And you know, good luck to you guys on Thursday. I do want to give you a chance though. I mean, you've talked about some of the folks and you know, and your dad with the team and stuff. Tell us about some of the folks that helped make the whole effort possible.
Yeah, definitely. We got A&G Food Service and Mike Yar Photography does all kinds of weddings and stuff. I got obviously my dad, Gil Tegg's Mobile, and my sister at All Star Pizza. She takes care of us with food and stuff. And I'm just trying. I know I got my powder. Oh, Leland powder coating. He does all my, you know, bumpers, sidebars. So every little bit helps, you know. It's a team effort, and you know, with the crew, same deal there. I mean, without my crew, I wouldn't be out there. I got my dad and Marianne, and then Jeremy Sibold and Norm Thompson and Brian Pepper. So we got a great group of guys. And you know, when we're not running, well, I always say we, you know, but I'm the guy in the car. But when I'm not running all that well, you know, those guys are still plugging away and grinding tires. And I mean, they're, sweating. It's 90 to, whatever. It's hot. And, those guys are always positive, and it's just great to have a group of guys like that, because you're not always going to win. You're going to have tough nights, and when you got to have the team all clicking on, everyone's got to be working together and fight through some of the tough nights, and then hopefully you get rewarded like we did last Saturday with a good night. So those guys have been strong all year.
That's what makes the world go around.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Great job again this past weekend. Good luck to you on Thursday. And we appreciate your time to give us some time to spread the message a bit and talk about your experience with the fans. And we've been gaining listenership here with the podcast, and I know this week's going to be a real popular one. So we appreciate the time as always.
Yeah, I thank you guys. I mean, it's amazing the exposure we get out of things like this, and it's great for our sport. And I actually really enjoyed doing this, just talking about it a little bit more, and you asking the questions, and it's pretty neat, just to try to get the fans, let them know how we're feeling and what things, like you said, some of the questions you asked, it's a cool thing for the fans to know some of that stuff. So
absolutely,
it helps the sport tremendously.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's Gil Tegg, our A-Main interview of the week, coming off a win this past Saturday at the Land of Legends. He'll try to do it again here on Thursday night for the Honey Eye Auto Parts 40 laps, $4,000 to win for the big blocks. And you will see his 22G in the field there on Thursday night. Gil, appreciate it again, man.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, folks, stay tuned. On the other side of this break, we are going to have the Dash for Cash, your opportunity to win some Land of Legends swag. Stay tuned. You're listening to Where Legends Are Made.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts and visit landoflegendspodcast.com.
Fans of Land of Legends Raceway and the Where Legends Are Made podcast, we've got a great opportunity for you to feature your business. We have opportunities here to sponsor Where Legends Are Made. We have all different features of the podcast. You can pick to be a sponsor of one of our heat races. Maybe you want your business name attached to the top 10 read-offs for the week. Maybe you want your business to be the one that's heard when we play our highlight of the week. Maybe you're a history buff. You want to sponsor Heat 3, where we talk about this week in Land of Legends Raceway history. Maybe you want to be the A-Main sponsor. So when we interview our main driver of the week, you want to get your business out in front of that. We've got plenty of opportunities for you to do so, and we can work inside of any budget. And believe me, if you're listening to this and you're saying, oh, I don't think my business has the advertising budget to sponsor a podcast, believe me, we can fit inside of anybody's advertising budget. Get your business a little bit of advertising here on Where Legends Are Made. Contact us right here on the Land of Legends Raceway Facebook page if you're interested, and put your business in front of all of our fans where legends are made.
Land of Legends fans, want to win some swag? Listen up for this week's Dash for Cash.
That's right, race fans. It's our closing segment here on episode 5 for Where Legends Are Made. And it's our Dash for Cash segment where you, the fans, and our great listeners here on the podcast get an opportunity to take home a great prize from Land of Legends Raceway, some of our sponsors, race teams, whatever it is that we've got dialed up for you. And this week, we've got a cool prize dialed up for you. We've got a Land of Legends Raceway hat and t-shirt to give away. It's a hat and t-shirt combo from our apparel booth at the Land of Legends. And if you are the winner and you're not or in the local area that we can deliver, we'd be happy to mail that out to you. So it's simple. All you have to do is share the video here on Facebook. So if you're listening to us on your mobile device, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, simply go over to the Facebook page and share episode 5 of Where Legends Are Made. And all of the shares that we gather, we will draw a winner by Monday morning. We'll have a winner for you on this week's Dash for Cash. It's for a Land of Legends Raceway hat and t-shirt, courtesy of Land of Legends Raceway. And Brad, that's going to wrap up episode number 5. I'm telling you, I kind of teased this on Facebook. Bobby Parrow, Tegg, they did not disappoint. Awesome interviews from 2 great guys in our pit area. And this is exactly why, one of the reasons why we wanted to do a podcast for this racetrack, because there are so many great people and great stories in the pit area. And this is such a great vehicle to be able to share that.
100%. You know, I alluded to it earlier. You know, this past Saturday was just one of those Saturdays you go to the track and you walk away feeling you felt good. You know, it wasn't just a repeat of weeks past. It was something new, something fresh, and something that I wasn't expecting.
No, I'm sure a lot of people weren't expecting. So that'll do it here for episode number 5. We appreciate everybody's time listening in, and be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts as well as on Google Podcasts so that you get notifications when we post new content. And also don't forget to download the Land of Legends Raceway app on the Apple App Store, as well as Google Play Store, so that you can have access to all the great information here on the Land of Legends app. That's going to do it for us. On behalf of Brad Ovens, our executive producer here with Where Legends Are Made podcast, my name is Steve Ovens, the voice of the Land of Legends, saying thank you for tuning in, and we will see you at the racetrack.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts and visit landoflegendspodcast.com.